Hello viewers, welcome to Safe Tech. Uh, if you see a QRA report, the results are presented in a two form of risk. Number one is individual risk and number two is group risk. In this video, we will try to understand what is individual risk and how many forms of individual risk are there. So individual risk is a risk of fatality to individual from a particular hazard scenario who is present at a particular geographical location. Okay, let's define a scenario and try to understand how can we calculate that. So to define a scenario, I have here's a process vessel, for example, and this process vessel is having some kind of release, a hole here, and from that hole there is a release, and this release is catching fire or ignition. Okay, and a person is standing at a particular geographical location, say XY, from this hazard source. And okay, this is not the whole story of the scenario. We need to define the atmospheric or the environmental condition as well. So we'll say, for example, it's a sunny day, which will have some kind of overcast as well. The wind directions is at a particular direction, and then we have a certain the whole environmental condition is defined by a certain stability class. Now there are 6 stability class from A to F. Okay, so we will define this. Sometimes you will also see G as well. Okay, but we will define stability class in some other video. Okay, now to understand the individual risk, okay, the first kind of risk what we are saying is a location specific risk. Is basically that location specific risk is considering that this person which is standing here is here all the time, mean 24 hours a day and 365 days a year. So it's here all the time. Okay. Okay, so let's try to understand how can we calculate this risk. Okay, so we have individual risk. IR is equal to, so we will, first of all, we will consider the frequency of release, frequency of this release. So we'll say release frequency. We will multiply this with the probability of, direction of this release. Okay, in this scenario we're considering here in the east side and in the horizontal directions, and then we will multiply this with the probability of ignitions. If this is a jet fires, we will multiply with this with the probability of ignitions, and then we will multiply the probability of weather condition, okay, which is basically because of this all atmospheric and surrounding data. So this weather conditions, in this weather conditions we are basically defining the stability class, which is A to F. and the wind directions. So for example, if I stability clause, Pascal stability clause, and plus wind directions, we will try to understand this in some other video. Okay, then we will multiply this with the probability of fatality. Probability of fatality of a person, okay, at a particular geographical location. So this all equation will give me individual specific risk at a particular location XY, considering that the person will be there all the time. Okay, so I would say that this is location specific individual risk. Okay, so in a particular study, this location specific risk is presented in the form of contours, because at every geographical locations the probability of fatality will decrease if a person will move, if we take a geographical locations away from that hazard source. Okay, so for example, the study will show the location specific risk in a contours, like for example this is 10^4 chances of fatality per years, and this is 10^-5 chance of fatality per years. It's so now if we multiply the location specific risk with the probability that a person will be there, okay, with the probability of occupancy, okay, that what fraction of the time person will be there. So this will give me location specific risk multiplied by the probability of occupancy at the fraction of the time person will be there at certain geographical locations. It will give me the person specific individual risk. And if you see the QRA study, this kind of risk is presented in a form of kind of bar charts, okay, something like that. Okay, so I hope this video will give you a good idea about what is individual risk, what is location specific individual risk, and what is person specific individual risk. Thank you very much for watching this video. Bye.